When I was 2 years old, I was called the N-word for the first time in a mall in my hometown of Moncton, New Brunswick, which, if you do not know, is an extremely white community, where I was also raised by my white mother. I spent 23 years living in that city, feeling othered, isolated, and I hated myself because of the literal skin that I was in. I allowed people to be racist towards me, and I was even racist towards myself to make people like me. This lack of self-esteem became a bigger issue when my mother became ill and I started drinking and doing drugs. After 4 years of an addiction, I moved in with my father to get sober. This was the first time I lived with a black person and finally started to like the skin I was in because I loved people who looked like me and I was building a community. And of course, after the murder of George Floyd, I was seeing an outpouring of support for black people unlike ever before. I stumbled into activism. After living with my father, I wrote on Facebook, I literally wrote on Facebook, it's that cheesy. I wrote on Facebook, I didn't write it in here, I wrote on Facebook that being black was cool. I was literally like, oh my god, this is great. I wrote on Facebook how living with him was a success and what I was learning about myself as a black and even specifically a mixed race woman. A black focused podcast in my hometown saw my post and asked me to join their podcast, and I said yes. A year later, I left to co-create my own podcast, which aired 100 episodes.